4 women, 4 scandals, one bloodline that changed everything. In ancient Middle Eastern culture, women, they weren't mentioned in genealogies, like ever. So when Matthew sat down to write Jesus' family tree and deliberately included 4 women, each with a story that would make religious leaders squirm, he wasn't making a mistake. He was making a statement. Try and imagine this. You're in a first century synagogue and the rabbi unrolls the scroll of Matthew's gospel for the very first time. The congregation leans in, eager to hear the lineage of their long-awaited Messiah. This is it. The proof that Jesus comes from royalty, from purity, from... Wait, what? Did he just say Tamar? The room would have been silent because everybody knew Tamar's story. Widowed twice over, denied her legal rights. She dressed as a temple prostitute and seduced her own father-in-law by the side of the road. And when he tried to have her burned for adultery, she produced his seal and staff, proof that he was the father. Matthew didn't stop there. Quote, Solomon, the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab, end quote. Rahab, the prostitute of Jericho, not former prostitute. Matthew uses the present tense identifier. The woman who hid spies in her brothel, who hung a scarlet cord from her window like a red light advertisement. She's in the Messiah's bloodline. Quote, Boaz, the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth, end quote. The Moabite, from the nation born of drunken incest between Lot and his daughters. The law was crystal clear. Quote, no Ammonite or Moabite or any of their descendants may enter the assembly of the Lord, not even in the 10th generation, end quote. That's Deuteronomy 23, verse 3. But God counted differently. And then comes the line that would have made everybody shift uncomfortably. Quote, David was the father of Solomon, whose mother had been Uriah's wife, end quote. Matthew doesn't even give her a name. Bathsheba becomes Uriah's wife, forever linked not to King David's palace, but to the foreign soldier David murdered. It's like putting an asterisk next to the greatest king of Israel. Little asterisk, committed adultery and murder. Here's what really gets to me about this. These weren't random selections. Luke traces Jesus's line through different people. Matthew, he had choices. He could have written a genealogy that looked like a hall of fame. Instead, he wrote one that looks like a halfway house. Why? Because God was answering a question that we didn't even know we were asking. See, religion had become a game of who's in and who's out. The Pharisees had 613 laws, and breaking any one of them would put you on the outside. Touch a leper, unclean. Eat with tax collectors, defiled. Wrong bloodline, disqualified. But then God enters the scene and says, let me show you how I've always operated. Tamar, she fought for justice when the system failed her. Rahab, she recognized God's power when her own people couldn't. Ruth, she showed covenant loyalty that put Israel to shame. Bathsheba, she survived powerful men's sin and raised the wisest king Israel had ever known. These weren't just scandals. They were stories of grace breaking through. And here's the part I think we really need to resonate with. We still play the same game today. We just use different scoreboards. That person with the addiction, surely God can't use them, right? The one with multiple divorces, they got to be damaged goods, right? The one who walked away from faith, well, they must be too far gone now. The one whose sexuality doesn't fit our boxes, outside the boundaries. We build our careful theological walls, and then God shows up with a genealogy that just blows them to pieces. I think about a woman I met who hadn't been to church in 15, 20 years, she told me. She said, I had an abortion when I was 19, and I know God forgives, but the church just won't. I know they won't. And then I showed her Matthew 1. I showed her Tamar, pregnant with her father-in-law's child, or Rahab, whose profession was selling her body. I started watching tears stream down her face as she realized, maybe for the first time, that her story wasn't too messy for God's redemption. Quote, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and all are justified freely by his grace through the redemption that came by Christ Jesus. End quote. That's Romans 3, verses 23 through 24. Notice it says all. That word in Greek means all, not all the good people, not all the people. It means all. This genealogy isn't just a list of names. It's God's manifesto. It's him declaring before Jesus ever speaks a word, I'm not coming for the righteous, I'm coming for the broken. I'm not building with perfect stones, I'm building with the ones that religion may have rejected. The religious elite wanted a Messiah with a pedigree. God gave them a Messiah with a past. So if you're watching this right now carrying some kind of shame like a weight around your neck, if you've believed the lie that your past disqualifies your future, I need you to hear this. Your story, with all of its broken chapters, is exactly the kind that God specializes in rewriting. The guilt you carry, the secrets you hide, the parts of your past that you'd rather erase, they don't intimidate the God who puts prostitutes and murderers in his son's family tree. In fact, they might just be the very places where grace grows best. Because if the bloodline of Jesus teaches us anything at all, it's this: that God doesn't need your perfection. He never has. All he needs is your permission to turn your mess into his message. My friend, my name's Adam. I want to say thanks for making it to the end of this devotional. If you would be so kind to leave a little comment or a like, really does mean the world to me. Lets me know someone's watching these things. I do them every day. I hope to see you here on tomorrow's, but until then, onward, and God bless you.